Hi, Mike Kennedy with you. We are doing menu 19, beef patty jalapeno pepper jack. Spicing it up. So, I got a case of MREs. They're a really good price. I found out these are basically 3 years old, and this month is their inspection date, and the sticker on the outside of the MRE case indicates that it's been stored at a regular temperature, so they should be okay. They probably could have as much as 2 years more life in them, again, depending on how they're stored. So, I opened the bag, but I've often thought this is a really rugged bag. You could carry water in it if you're foraging. You could put things in it. I'm thinking of trying to boil water in one of them and see how that works. But it's a very rugged bag. MREs, one of the qualifications of them is they've got to be able to survive being on a pallet and being parachuted down somewhere. So there's quite a bit of force that can be exerted on these, and supposedly they're still going to be good. There's like the brownie recipe, you can get it, that they use in the MREs. It's like 50 pages long. That's all the specs and things about, can it stand dropping? Can it do this? Can it do that? So then we have another inner bag. So first off, we have the actual, we have the sleeve that is going to be used with the MRE heater. And let's look at this and see what it says. The grilled jalapeno pepper jack flavored beef patty is 140 calories, and the en gratin potatoes, which are in here too, are 210. So you can see right off, you're getting 350 calories plus everything else. Plus everything else, MREs now are basically about 1,200 calories, and at least the servicemen I talked to said typically you'd eat, 2 or 3. Some days you wouldn't eat 3. Here's our MRE heater that's activated with water. You can think of this as rapid rust. When something rusts, the oxygen is combining with the iron, and in this case, it's doing that, but so rapidly that it actually creates heat. Be interesting to see now. 3 years old. We'll see how these work. And we've got a tortilla to put it in, I believe. We've got barbecue sauce, which I'm not a fan of. We might have someone else try that. Fat-free mayonnaise. Ooh, M&M's. That's great. A snack. A chocolate chip cookie. Let's see. That's 300 calories almost. This is cool. This is a hot beverage bag. These are extremely rugged bags, and sometimes you can find these separately, and they sell for 10 or 15 cents a piece. But if you wanted something to be in a bag long term, and it would fit, this would be a very good bag to use. The MRE spoon, and now we've got this is the actual beef patty. Okay, this is the en gratin potatoes, which means potatoes and cheese, I believe. We get cheese spread with bacon. That's a winner. 120 calories. Then we have the accessory pack. Let's take a look and see what's actually in here. So my previous video, I showed the opening and trying to decipher the manufacture date, and we figured that out. We figured out, like I say, that they were supposed to be inspected this month, and they were. The sticker is good on them, so we're hoping that everything's right. I got to tell you, I bought an MRE. There's some reduced sodium ones, and they really tend to go cheap because they're not a complete MRE. Like, they throw in Pop-Tarts to make it, to bump up those calories and things. They don't have the same accessory pack, but it's shortcutted and it's lower sodium. And the market was flooded with those for a while. And I actually bought one from a store that had been bad, that was bad, that had already gone bad. The Pop-Tart was definitely not edible at that point. So here we've got some Bill's Brew, the freeze-dried coffee. I don't drink coffee. We'll get someone to test this. Sugar. Dairy creamer. Toilet paper. There must be an art to this. I can't imagine that, using that effectively. We have a wet wipe. We've got the chiclet gum, and my understanding is if they're in a red envelope, they actually have caffeine in them, so these don't. But I've tried those before, the caffeine gum. We have some Splendid, if you don't want to use that sugar pack, I guess. And then we have iodized salt, so you're going to get your iodine in there. Well, this is interesting. What's missing that's always in every accessory pack that I've opened has been matches. There's no matches in this. I wonder if that tells us something. This whole idea of whether it's illegal to buy or sell MREs that are, in the stream of, I don't want to say active duty or something, but you really can't tell with your MREs because that no matches tells me something, I think. But because the government does actually sell some of the MREs, like these were 3 years old, they could have sold them, and now someone's reselling them. So, and like I say, I've noticed in stores, and I've been told that, okay, if you see this, if you see it say, commercial sale is unlawful, what you'll find is you can buy these sometimes direct from the companies that make them for civilians, but they'll still use this bag. So it's kind of meaningless whether that is on the bag or not, which is too bad. But I suppose that saves them money. Plus, people want to think that they're using the real, exactly what the military people would use. Okay, so let's get some water, and we're going to heat up the meal here. I've got a bottle of water here down below. Some consumer MREs, and I think some foreign MREs, actually include the water, and it's usually salt water. So they've got a different type of MRE. So now someone can fill me in, but I would assume that you'd want both the patty and the potatoes heated up. But my experience with MREs is I don't think this is going to heat the heater, which I don't have in my hand. The heater isn't going to heat up both of these, but we're going to try it. And let's go here. You rip it along the rip line. Okay. And then operating instructions. We're going to fill it up to the mark, which is here. We're not going to overfill it. Fill the lines, okay? So that's not a lot of water. We're going to put it inside the cardboard. Liner is going to be inside. No, excuse me, I didn't say that right. The cardboard is going to be on the outside. And we're going to have the actual thing we're heating, of course, in the bag. And don't, it says don't eat it. This bag. These smell awful. They have a warning about how many you can use in a closed car. Oh, it doesn't have that warning, but, or I'm just missing it because I'm going so quickly, but. And then when we get it, we're going to fold this over, and then we're going to put it in the sleeve, and we're going to wait 10 to 15 minutes. To prevent water from escaping to maximize heat output, always keep heater located underneath the MRE, underneath bag, folded over top of MRE, and sleeve inclined with folded end, bag up. It's going to be like that, and in the sleeve. So I guess in absence of telling me whether I can do 2 items or not, I think I'm just going to go for the heating this. Okay. Now, and you know, I was telling you about the low sodium ones. Basically, all the MRE heating bags and those don't work. So they're too old. I would assume they're too old. Of course, when you buy one from a store, or some, you know, you don't buy it in case lot. A case of it, you have no idea the date of it, when it was made, when it was supposed to be inspected. Okay. Gee, that's so little water, but I'm going to do what it says. Oh, wow, you can see the fumes already. So let's get this in here. Get the patty in there. Oh, gosh, does that smell. Okay, then it's going to be like this, and then we're going to put the sleeve over it. Wow, that is like almost burning to the touch. Maybe I should have put the potatoes in there. I'll tell you what, maybe I'll just put them on the outside. I know that isn't standard protocol, but we'll do it anyway. So there, and we're going to put it on an incline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little first aid kit on the dashboard and put that there. Okay, let's see what other trouble we can get into. Life is short. Eat dessert first. We could do that. Okay, now, this is just me, but I have to have water when I eat these. They tend to be really dry because one of the ways of making things be able to be preserved is not having a lot of liquid in them. And so I find some of these things just too dry to eat. And Here's a cookie. Looks good. It's crumbling already, but nothing wrong with that. It's cracking. It's 9 o'clock. I had a location I was going to go to and do this, but it's basically going to be raining all day. We have tortilla, plain, 220 calories. Oh, if they get a tear line. And 2, because our arthritic hands, these are hard to open sometimes. Oh. We have 2. Or do we have 3? No, we have 2. So, I assume we're going to put the patty in there. We're going to put some of the mayonnaise or barbecue sauce, or maybe both, on it after we put the pepper jack. No, the beef patty or whatever it is. This cheese spread with bacon is really good, but it's funny because they usually have this in with crackers. So what are we going to do? We're going to make, these are small tortillas, but so I assume that we're only going to put half of the pepper jack in each one, the patty. And so we could do one with the cheese spread, then do one with mayo. We'll be back. That cookie was really good. I was watching this show, YouTube video, I'll put the link below, but this guy is talking about Israel attacking Iran and what went into it. So evidently, you know, they've got all kinds of personnel in Iran first. And some of them have actually spent years creating their backstory. In other words, he didn't say exactly this, but I get the impression this is what he's saying. You would go do some job somewhere for 5 years. Let's just say you had a market, and you'd work there like 5 years to create an identity before you went into Iran to run a market there. So if they were to check, it would be, you know, the record would show that you'd been doing that for 5 years. And I don't know about what they did before, but they would spend years creating this backstory so they could go into a country easily. You figure if somehow they did that in Pakistan or Turkey or something, then they could, probably cross the border into Iran legally with a passport and everything. But, a lot of people went through they said their border was porous. In other words, there were holes all through it. So now with it, there's two types of drones. There's the drones the military had for many years, which were unmanned flying vehicles. These were, looked like planes, small planes. I think there's some large ones now, but capable of going quite a distance. And there would be a person back running it. And so it could, they could see what it could see, so they could drop bombs or do whatever they want the drone to do, right? Well, in this kind of new age warfare, it's about these helicopter type drones. They're small, very hard to see on radar, and if there's a swarm of them, they're not the easiest things to shoot down because they're so small. And all your weapons are based on, you're going to shoot a plane out of the sky. You're not going to shoot something 60 feet away from you that's, less than 2 feet across and probably, only 6 inches tall. And so, of course, these drones, they don't have a big range. So if you want to use them effectively, you have to basically get within 30 kilometers of the target or shorter. They were talking about different things for different distances. So what you would have is, the Mossad agents would come through, and the drones would be smuggled in different things and then be reassembled in Iran by the Mossad agents. And so eventually this is happening all over the place in Iran. And they're working with insurgents too, the people who don't like the government. And I read practically no one in Iran likes the government right now. Of course, they're not allowed to say so. They're not allowed to leave Islam, or they'll, could be executed. But I read there's tens of thousands of mosques in Iran that have closed because of lack of attendance. So anyway, you go into this country, let's check time, 5 more minutes. You go into this country, you start the drone things, and you just wait. You wait for the, it's all a coordinated thing. So basically, when the time comes, you just release these drones. And whether they're manned or guided or whatever, but there's just a swarm of things coming at whatever the target is. And there's really not much the target can do about it. So basically, Israel took out their ability to see what was in the air, all their radar type things. So basically, they could not effectively shoot at any plane or know that a plane's coming, because they have to go by just by sight and sound. And supposedly Iran claimed they shot 2, IDF, Israel Defense Force jets down, but we haven't had any confirmation of that. But we have had confirmation from Iran. This is crazy. Of all these top leaders they took out. So Iran knew where each of these people, Mossad knew where each of these people were, and they attacked them. And, they took out like 30 of their top commanders. So they basically crippled the Iranian military. And I guess they're shooting at, the planes. They have weapons that don't even reach the plane's altitude. They're fighting in World War II style, with these artillery, and it's just not doing the job. So basically, Israel goes in and does whatever they want to do, which was take out a lot of the military, and the nuclear thing is the big thing they're after, because they, like so many other countries, think Iran should never have a nuclear weapon. And it's interesting, other Arab countries don't believe they should have one, because you have Hamas, the horrible terrorist organization that's operating in Gaza, and you've got Hezbollah, which is operating in Lebanon, and they don't make any statement about this attack. They don't want to get drawn into it, and they kind of don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon either, because World War III starts. And no matter what anyone's told you, I think if we had a, nuclear World War III, eventually it would kill 80% of everything. Every plant, tree, mouse, mosquito, human. It would just be devastating, because, where it didn't hit, where a nuclear thing didn't hit, eventually that radiation's going to, gets in the river, gets in the ocean, devastating effect on the planet. You figure if you kill all the plankton in the ocean, all of a sudden the oxygen levels of the air is going to go down, because we kind of depend on that plankton and other plants to manufacture, to breathe in CO2 and breathe out the oxygen we need. But so no one wins a World War III that's nuclear. And of course now we've seen, we've gone from everybody spent all these money on nuclear weapons, and it's like the drone is the future weapon right now. The drone, the small, portable. And I remember that when the Afghan war, that the bad guys were using them, and basically they'd have a drone with a hand grenade, and so basically they could fly it at someone, and whether it dropped the hand grenade, or they actually had to physically impact something, and then the hand grenade went off. It was incredibly effective. And again, shooting one of those down it's almost like, for a soldier, you'd want to have some kind of shotgun that would shoot out a pattern, so that, if this thing is doing some evasive maneuvering, you're still going to be able to hit it. Because an actual rifle, the chances are really slim that you're going to be able to knock one down. So we got our 15-minute mark. So that's quite warm, which is a good sign. So I'll tell you, these heaters with this, 3 years old, are really good. Wow. It did heat the potatoes up. Not as much on the top. Oh, does this smell? You could open the window. Now, I've never read that the fumes are dangerous, but like I say, there have been warning. Oh, here it is here. Vapors released can displace oxygen, so they can displace it. Don't use 10 or more heaters inside a vehicle or shelter. Ensure adequate ventilation system is operating. And so, something you lose with age is the tactile quality of fingers, so that you can separate two things. Okay. So, and again, that's interesting. It's hot on one side and cold on the other. I probably could have left it longer, or maybe I could have gone in and turned it around halfway. Okay, so let's make a tortilla with this. Let me wind that window back out, that the fumes are dissipated. get our MRE fork. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to take half of this, if I can get it to come out. Let's take a look. So I'm going to take half of that and put it in a burrito. Now, I suppose this would depend if you're a soldier on how much time you have to actually sit there and play with it, or whether you're just going to eat it right out of the package. We'll do that one for the next, off camera. So we're going to taste some of it with nothing on it first. You can see red flakes in it. Definitely tastes like meat with some spices added. Cheese spread with bacon. Let's try that. It says tear here. Again, for people with good hands, we'll just make a little indentation here. Like I say, I'm sure if you don't have arthritis in your hands, that you could do this all without a knife, I'm sure. We're going to put it on. We're going to put it on the tortilla with, we got to try some separate too. I guess I can taste the bacon. I definitely can taste the cheese. It's almost like a Velveeta style cheese. So, there we are. Not bad. It is a little, this is the colder end, but certainly not objectionable. I've seen veterans talk about they wouldn't bother with the heater at all, they just eat the stuff cold. I bet that would depend on how cold you were. Very good. Let's try it. Fat-free mayonnaise. Why would it be fat-free? Probably to preserve it a little better, because you basically want fat. You know, something to think about. If you were eating these long term, which you're not supposed to, you're only supposed to eat them for a maximum of 2 weeks as your sole thing. Hopefully you get back to base camp. They have too much salt. And again, if you're a soldier, that's not a problem, because chances are you're really exerting yourself. And that means you're sweating, and that means you need to replace the sodium. And where's the little mayo one? Barbecue sauce. We're not gonna do that one. Okay, let's do the mayo. The mayo is really white. So let's try this one. That's good because it makes it more moist. And to be honest, the patty isn't really that dry. Not bad at all. Like most spicy foods, the longer you eat it, the hotter it becomes. So I actually still have that hot feeling in my mouth, but it's not objectionable. So let's try our almost warm potatoes en gratin. Oh my goodness. You got plenty of cheese. It's like looks like it's a cheese sauce. So there you actually have a chunk of potato. And it's in the, again, tastes like that kind of Velveeta type cheese, which isn't my favorite, but certainly not objectionable. I was wondering if this said right on it the calories, but there you can see the potato better there. It's definitely colder now too. And of course it tastes better warm. But like I say, I think this would be a very welcome meal to someone who's tired and hungry. This was not included. So what else do we really have? We have the barbecue sauce, which I didn't try. And the accessory pack, which I used the heater already. So it's like a kind of an option. Do you either want hot coffee or do you want hot food? Again, maybe, how hot is this still? Yeah, see, this is cooled down pretty much right now. So, I don't know, maybe if you're colder, pipe in. Would you, would the heater do both your coffee? Well, do your coffee with the main part of the meal. We got our chiclets, we got our coffee, we got our wet wipe. Oh, we got the sugar and salt. I like that they do the salts, add the, the salt separate. Then you can put salt in. And then of course we have our M&Ms. And what could go wrong with an M&M? Oh, I think these are the peanut ones. Yeah. So, just with this, you're getting 250 calories, 13 grams of fat, protein 5 grams. So, it's all about protein, calories, and salt to some extent, because you're going to need it. Excellent as usual, M&Ms. So there we are. Just to continue on with that talk about Israel. So they basically go in, destroy all the air defensive things, their ability to, their radar things and everything. Take out like 30 people in management, in high-ranking people in the, their army. And was the U.S. or U.S. not involved in this? It's kind of hard to say. Of course, Trump kind of said no, but then, we definitely, evidently, did have some jets and things up there and intercepting some things, protecting, military assets, our military assets over there. And it was funny, well, not funny, but odd, not a coincidence, I think, though. Trump gave Iran 60 days to respond to this coming to the table, right? And he'd been talking to them right up till, I guess the 60 days ran out on Friday, and the very next day, maybe I've got the day of the week wrong there, but it's day 61, Israel attacked. So some people were saying that the president's still negotiating with them, with like meetings planned the next week, gave them a false sense of security. So they're really totally surprised by this. And So who knows? I suppose we'll won't know for quite a while whether that, what was going on behind the scenes, what the U.S. involvement was. But the U.S. has definitely said, "You touch one of our people." He told people in Tehran, the capital of Trump told the capital of Iran is called Tehran. He told them to evacuate. So that's a little scary if you're in that city. And what you find in some of these places, when you try to evacuate, that they won't let you. They won't let you leave. So crazy stuff. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Menu 19, beef patty, jalapeno pepper jack. And I would rate this as extremely good. The only downside, I guess, is it wasn't as hot as you would normally prefer it to be, but definitely tasty. And definitely, you look at it, that's like 1,200 calories. Again, 2 of those would give the amount of calories a normal person would need, or a soldier that isn't very active. Now, if you're very active, you would end up with 3 of those. And you can see, though, that's quite a bit to carry with you by the time you get 3 of these. And that's why they invented some of the first strike rations. And we can talk about them some other time. Bye.